Welcome back to White's Garage. Today we're working on a 2001 GMC Sierra 2500 HD with the 6-liter LS in it. The reason why this has become a project is because I did put a motor in it. I just finished that up last week. I will put some content out about that, but I really didn't record any of it. I do have some pictures, and we will later disassemble the engine that I removed, because I would like to see what failed in there. So today, the ABS light and the brake light are on. So we're going to dig into that. Let's get into it. All right, so our issue, you can come on in here, is our ABS light's on with the red brake light. All right. All right, so plugging in the scan tool. Now, you don't have to have a snap-on. Any basic, 50 bucks off of Amazon, you can get a little Bluetooth dongle that plugs into your car. Gives you live data and codes. They're pretty good these days. You don't have to have this. I am a professional, though, so it works a little better for me. Now, I have had this truck plugged in before. This is an 01 GMC Sierra 2500 HD. I replaced the engine in it some time ago. Well, I replaced the engine in it. Oh, there we go. Get that to turn off. Because it had seized up. And we'll do another video on that later because I want to do a little archaeology on that engine and see exactly what failed. So we're in the ABS. Current codes. Ignition's on. All right, so C0265 electronic brake control module motor relay circuit. All right, so we're going to dive into that. So what that code basically means is that the ABS module isn't seeing power or ground, so it's setting a code. So we're going to go ahead and check that. Before I actually crawl into the truck, though, I do want to do an ABS functional test to see if I can get it to do anything. So we're going with motor on. Let's see here. I've got to get in here. Not all scanners can do this, which is why I have, one of the nicer ones. So here we go. I've got my foot on the brake. I'm turning on the ABS motor, and I hear nothing. It's right under here under this frame rail, and it's not doing anything. So we're going to go ahead and start doing some circuit testing down at the ABS module. I've already checked the 50 amp fuse underneath the hood. Up in here, there's you've got your controller that sits on top of the ABS motor. There's a pigtail that's kind of sandwiched between the motor and the control board. I went in there with a right angle pick. Yeah, my safety glasses aren't doing a whole lot of good, are they? So I just probed across those with a meter, and the spec is 0.3 to 1.0 ohms, and it is currently sitting at around 0.3, so that tells me that the motor is good. And we likely have an issue then with the controller itself. I have to figure out how to test that. Cut. Yeah. We're still recording. Why?
All right, so we lost audio on this. What I'm doing is I'm checking the power and ground, the primary power supply to the ABS motor. Now, the keen-eyed among you will see that I am probing through the front of the connector, and this is largely frowned upon, but the contacts were exposed and fairly large, and so I did not insert it into the connector. But we did get the battery voltage there. I later load tested it. And then we moved on.
All right, real quick. So I want to load test this circuit since I don't have a lead all the way back to the battery. So I'm just setting up real quick and dirty. This is just a headlight bulb I'm going to run some wires off to. I'm going to test the setup off of the battery. This clamp's a little too big to go over the spade terminal there, so I'm just going to use some pliers here. And probably just made that a little too tight, but we'll see if it works. Come on. Maybe. There we go. Now that's nice and tight. Prior to this recording, that fell off a few times. But now we have, there should be a complete circuit. And just touch that to the battery. And I'm guessing that that bulb is bad. So we're going to try again. All right, take two. The bulb I originally tried to use didn't work. So I just snatched one out of the truck here because you use what you got available to you. And so let's see if this works now. Come on. There we go. So that is a cheap and dirty load tester. So we're going to take this under the truck. Okay, so now look, I just performed a really big no-no. I shoved this terminal into the mating side. You really don't want to do that because you'll get something called terminal spread. However, the terminal that I just shoved in there is way smaller than what it actually has, so it shouldn't be a problem. We're just trying to get a basic connection here. And we have a nice bright light, and that's how you can load test a circuit. So I know I'm getting good power and ground down to this ABS module. All right, let's see what's next. Now, just to show you, I did actually rob the bulb out of this truck because it's doing good. And so make sure that gets put back in securely. Nope, missed the hole. Oh goodness, it's fighting me. There it is, nice and sturdy. GMs were really great about this. If you've ever removed one of these headlights before, it's just these two rods. And they slide down in here, sort of, kind of, probably. If I can get that. Huh. Probably. It's supposed to work. Come on. Gotta hold your tongue right, I guess. It was nice enough to just use these rods here that lock in like so. Now, mind you, this is on all the trucks, but at least it is on this model. Headlights back in. Thank you for your service. All right, so we've done our testing. We've crawled all over the truck. The P0265 for the EBCM. The testing confirmed that the control module itself has failed. So we're going to go ahead and try to source some parts for that.
We were able to source the computer for that ABS module. As you see in the video, he's just putting grease on the bolts so they don't rust and they come out easier for the next time. And then we're going to cut to putting the new ABS module in.
And welcome back to the underside of the rust bucket. We're mounting the ABS module back in. There is a little tab that helps you locate it. And then there are 3 bolts that hold it in place. Now, where's my light? Forget that one. All right, well, we'll just use the backup. All right. Yeah, that went a little easier than I thought. All right. Now, lift my air hose across the shop. And since I was up, I took the opportunity to get the light that I wanted. There we go. All right, well, that's attached. I've got to move on to the brake lines. That's going to be fun. Working on cars on the ground, it helps to be a contortionist. One of the advantages of this particular truck is that all of the brake lines have already been replaced, so this should go pretty smoothly getting these in. It fucked me a little getting it out, so we're going to start with the rear output because that's the one that's most buried. We actually got to do this. And it's also generally the first line to rupture. And then you end up replacing all the lines because as soon as you try to touch this rear line, all the other ones break as well. Flare fittings suck. Alright, I believe I have successfully started it. We're about to find out though. It's either about to cross thread and I'm going to have a bad day or everything's going to work out perfect. So I'm switching to one of the lower lines now because if I get this line in, the other input line, I won't be able to swing my wrench quite as far. So that was 11 millimeters. If you find yourself doing this, it might be different on your truck. I'm not the first person to touch this one, so we'll see. Here's these little caps off the brake leader screws. All right, that's the final line in. Now, just have to connect the electrical bits, and we can get out from under the truck. Mostly. It's time to bleed it anyway. One and two. And that's that installed. Oh no, that could have been worse. Back topside. Still have to bleed the system. We'll get into that a little bit. Hopefully be able to keep the wheels on because I really don't want to take the wheels off this truck. But as you saw earlier, the original issue was the ABS light being on. So let's see what happens. And yes, it's out. Success. All right, now we got to bleed it. Am I going to be able to do this? I don't know. Oh yeah, that's nice. And man, that one's good and free. Okay. Are we on? All right, so I've got my bleeder hose on here. Now, one of the nice things about these trucks is I don't actually have to bleed both sides because there's a single line that feeds both of them. It splits on top of the differential. So normally you'd start on the passenger side rear, but like I said, we just got the single line. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this up, maybe. There we go. And bleed from here. And I have the hose going up so that it pushes the fluid and doesn't trap any air. I like to have the engine running while I'm bleeding. That way I've got boosted assist. That was 15 pumps of the pedal. That should be good. Let's check, make sure it's full of fluid. It does appear to be full of fluid. Now we're going to go check the reservoir. All right. Reservoir. These trucks have massive reservoirs. You can see the minimum line is here, and the maximum line is here. So while we're bleeding, I'll keep it a little over full because the brakes are worn on this. I'm not going to put it to the max line because if I do, the next person that does brakes is just going to push fluid out. All right. I like to make openings in the jugs. This smaller one's a vent. It just helps you pour smoother. Unfortunately, 3 of the 4 bleeder screws on this truck are seized. So we're going to try a little trick to get the 2 front ones freed up. But that'll be after I get the front wheels off. Oh, come on. You too good for your home? What the hell am I missing? There we go. Just had to hold my tongue right. All right. And then going to use the vacuum to suck out the fluid. Oh, help if I hooked it up. Missed a step. All right. Make sure this is good and snug. Yep. And put back what's left of the cap. Which isn't much. That's going to fall off. All right, so this here is the handyman's other secret weapon. This thing on. I agree that it should be. There we go. Fire. Anyway, what we're going to do with this is heat the bleeder screw. Just ever so gently. Now, I realize that not everybody has an oxyacetylene torch. MAP gas will do this. It's just going to take a lot longer. Be mindful of any hoses that are in the way. Huh. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to be mindful. All right, maybe. There we go. I think that'll be good enough. So you don't want to melt it, but you do want to get it glowing. Something like that. And we'll see if it was successful or not. Now it's the wrong way. Ah, yep, there it goes. All right. There we go. A little kiss of heat. And we've freed up our bleeder screw. All right. So again, we've got our, oh, you know what? Should probably wait for that to cool down. Seeing as how this is rubber. So let's get the other side free. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, while the other side's cooling down, we're going to try to get this one freed up. I think we need just a little bit more. There we go. I don't know if you can hear that. That's what you want your torch to sound like. Again, being careful of hoses and wires. Not trying to make more work for ourselves, we're trying to make less. Now, I don't recommend aiming 2,000 degrees at your person. All right, now if that's glowing, we'll see if this one works. Ooh, I heard it creak. I don't want to break it. Ah, there it goes. Sweet. Always a bit of pucker factor when dealing with seized bleeder screws. All right, the other side should be cool enough now to put the bleeder back on. Now, we're going to, also don't recommend doing this, but yep, that's cool enough. And we're going to route the hose, again, so that it's going uphill and not suck air back into the caliper. So, bleeder screw open. One, two, three. I like to do this about 15 times. 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Goodness, pedal's moving slow because I've got one of the calipers open. There we go. Verify that our hose is full of fluid. Yes, nice. And no bubbles. Let's see here. Close our bleeder. All right, back to the other side of the city. I'd also like to take this moment to mention that bleeder screws don't have to be super tight. You basically just snug them. Once they touch, you just give it a little and it's good. That's all you got to do. Because if you over torque them, it smashes the end of them, and not only can it cause leaks, but it'll make them seize. Check the fluid level. We are good. All right. That's great. Are you recording? Real quick, this is just the horror fraught evacuator. I've actually owned this one for, am I getting that old? 10 years now? Still works just fine. You don't have to spend the big money on the Mighty Vac stuff. This will work just great. All right, we're back in the truck. If you recall, last time we were in here at the beginning of the video is because the ABS light was on, and I was doing a ABS motor test. So now that we have the module replaced and we've got the light out, let's go ahead and do that functional test again. Oh, there it is, right in front of my face. Goodness. If it was a snake, it would have jumped up and bit me. All right. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but there is the pump running. And mission was successful. We have repaired the ABS system on this truck. All right, so here we are out on the road. Ignore that low fuel light. This is fine. Everything's fine. Also, try not to pay attention to the cracks in the windshield. We had a pretty bad hailstorm. So, I previously mentioned I replaced the engine in this. I didn't record any video. I didn't think about it at the time. I did take some pictures that we can post up as well somewhere on one of the pages. Check our socials, I guess. And everything's great. Just enjoy the cornfields. All right, to recap, 2001 GMC Sierra 2500 HD 6-liter four-wheel drive. Again, I don't take any video of doing the engine. I will post up some of the pictures. I did have to take the cab off of it due to my space limitations, so I could pull the torque converter with the engine. It was interesting job. Customer then, when I told him that the ABS light was on, he wanted to address that as well. So, I did the testing, confirmed that the EBCM had failed internally, and we replaced that. Test drove it. Everything as good as can be expected. The engine's running strong. It was a low mileage motor. The brakes are doing what they're supposed to do. Have a happy customer, and I hope you guys enjoyed the content.